Cambodia Omicron cases near 500 total. Cambodia recorded another jump in local and imported Omicron cases today. Cambodia, France signs science and technology cooperation. Cambodia and France have reached an agreement on science and technology cooperation under the framework of Hubert-Currient-only SAP partnerships. ASEAN tourism reopening officially announced. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, has officially announced the reopening of the sector, aiming to restore its socio-economy hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. Children affected the most by C-19. During the pandemic, children have been among the most affected by COVID-19, with school closures and worsening mental health. Myanmar appreciates Cambodia's step toward reopening of safe tourism. Myanmar has expressed appreciation for Cambodia's step towards reopening of safe and responsible tourism. ASEAN COVID-19 Table 20 January 2022. ASEAN as a whole has reported more than 15.9 million COVID-19 cases. Of this, more than 780,000 are active cases as of January 20. Plans to improve NR 31, 33 and 41 in the works. Senior Minister of the Ministry of Public Works and Transport, Sun Chanthol, announced that the royal government is currently working on plans to improve National Road 31, 33 and 41. EDC issues warning on forthcoming power outages in Phnom Penh from Thursday 20 January. Electricite Du Cambodge, EDC, has issued a notification on forthcoming planned power outages in the areas mentioned below. ASEAN Plus 3 tourism ministers vow to revive apt tourism. The rate of international tourists entering ASEAN Plus 3, Korea, Japan and China nations declined by 81.5% by 2020, and the ASEAN Plus 3, apt tourism ministers are committed to further strengthen cooperation to revitalize the tourism sectors of each of the apt nations. More than 60,000 traps removed from protected areas, and more than 700 recycled guns confiscated. Park rangers from the Ministry of Environment, together with conservation partners and communities in protected areas, have removed 61,611 traps from protected areas. Cambodian and Thai diplomats agree Myanmar crisis cannot be resolved immediately. Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Cambodia, said on the night of January 19 that he had had a telephone conversation with Don Pramat Vinay, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Thailand on the current ASEAN issues. Cambodia values strengthened tourism cooperation within ASEAN. PM Hun Sen. Cambodia highly appreciated ASEAN tourism ministers for strengthening cooperation and experience exchange in response to COVID-19, Prime Minister Hun Sen said in his opening remarks at the 40th ASEAN Tourism Forum, ATF 2022, in Cambodia's Sihanoukville. Vietnam to facilitate procedures for foreign entrants. Foreign arrivals with valid visas will be allowed to enter Vietnam without having to obtain prior permission from the Immigration Department and local authorities. Cambodian academic says I's address at WEF virtual session charts better world. Chinese President Xi Jinping's special address at the 2022 World Economic Forum, WEF, virtual session on Monday, has charted the course towards a better world and injected strong momentum into reinvigoration of global development, experts from different countries have said. World Bank financing will strengthen learning, access to education in Cambodia. The World Bank has approved financing, along with a grant from the Global Partnership for Education, will provide $69.25 million in new funding to help Cambodia improve equitable access to basic education and respond rapidly to crises affecting the education system. Cambodia assures efforts on sustainable Rohingya solution as ASEAN chair. Cambodia has assured Bangladesh of its best efforts in bringing a sustainable solution to the Rohingya problem as ASEAN chair. Cambodia's sea cruise tourism gets boost with launch of new cruise port in coastal city Kep. Cambodia on Wednesday inaugurated a $1.2 million tourist port in the seaside city of Kep, aimed at attracting more foreign tourists to the southwestern Kep province in the post-COVID-19 era, said a Transport Ministry's news release. Back in court. Sokha's treason trial resumes after COVID-19 caused suspension. Phnom Penh Municipal Court yesterday resumed hearing the case of former Cambodia National Rescue Party (CNRP) President Kem Sokha, who is accused of colluding with a foreign country to topple the government through a color revolution. Kep Province officially inaugurates new tourism port. Kep Province's crab-shaped tourism port was officially inaugurated yesterday, a move to enhance the tourism sector by facilitating travel of tourists in the province, where there are dozens of potential islands for tourism. Vietnamese Foreign Affairs Minister visits Cambodia to further boost ties. Vietnamese Foreign Minister Bui Thanh Son has embarked on his official two-day visit to Cambodia in a bid to further boost the two nations' ties. Phan Sinpec faction asks aunt to support Prince Chakravarth. The current royalist Phan Sinpec, led by acting President Prince Norodom Chakravarth, has called on his aunt, Princess Norodom Aranazmi, to help him lead the party. New vaccination campaign at schools and factories. Health Ministry will arrange a vaccination space directly at schools specifically for students and at factories for workers. Myanmar crisis is not the only agenda of ASEAN. The crisis in Myanmar is not the only agenda of ASEAN, Prime Minister Hun Sen said to the bloc's tourism ministers on Tuesday, adding that the establishment of an ASEAN travel corridor is of main concern to reopen society and promote economic growth. Road maintenance training for officials and workers. An online virtual road maintenance training program is scheduled to be held from June to September for relevant officers and skilled workers involved in infrastructural projects, so as to deliver good and quality standards of road construction works and maintenance. HKI Cambodia declares 50 out of 800 youths as nutrition champions. As Helen Keller International Cambodia (HKI) concluded its nutritional competition, 50 out of 800 youth from across the country were declared winners and claimed the title of nutrition champions. Grade 12 students not keen to pursue agricultural studies in universities. Agriculture is Cambodia's most important sector of its economy in terms of its share of the gross domestic product and employs the vast majority of the workforce. Local breeder arrested for smuggling in live pigs from Thailand amid ASF. The General Department of Animal Health and Production (GDAHP) in the Ministry of Agriculture is leaving no stone unturned in their enforcement operation to stop smuggling in of pigs from Thailand, following the official announcement of African swine fever on January the 11th in the country. Japan provides $728,501 for medical care and reducing child mortality. Another $200,906 will be allocated for 3 years to strengthen community care and support networks for children in Kampong Cham province. Appeal heard in military officer's drug case. Phnom Penh Appeal Court on January the 19th heard the case of a former military officer who was sentenced by Koh Kong Provincial Court to 15 years in prison for possessing and trafficking nearly a half kilogram of methamphetamine in 2016. Govt ends $40 subsidy for garment workers. The Labour Ministry decided to end the $40 allowance per month for garment, footwear, and travel products workers whose contracts were suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Lack of funding not a hindrance to smooth commune elections. The National Election Committee, NEC, yesterday said that they will run the upcoming council elections solely using money from the National Assembly. Ministry deepening Stung Prek Nat River to reduce flooding. The Water Resources Ministry is in the process of deepening the Prek Nat River and upgrading the sluice gates in Phnom Penh and Kandal province to reduce flooding. More flooded forest returned to state. Authorities in the provinces around the Tonle Sap Lake claim that so far this month no citizens or officials have had court cases filed against them for encroachment of flooded forest land, as people had returned such land to the state, although investigations are ongoing.